loud to reprogram our subconscious mind and prime our conscious mind for the success that we want in our life. So try these on as true. And even if they don't feel 100% true today, try them on. There's something new. See how they feel. Give it a shot. So first, listen and absorb these affirmations with your mind and your heart. I give myself permission to be happy. It doesn't matter what's going on around me. What matters is what's going on inside of me. I choose to make each day the best day of my life, which is determined not by what happens to me, but by how I show up, no matter what happens. Now take a deep breath. And out loud, whether it's full voice or a whisper, repeat after me. I give myself permission to be happy. What matters is what's going on inside of me. I choose to make each day the best day of my life. How I show up matters. I matter. And now that you've affirmed, we can move into visualization, which is where we imagine and see and feel and visualize the process and the results that we're looking for. And when you see something over and over, you believe that it's possible. So as we visualize, see yourself engaged in the process of getting to your level 10 life. Try that right now. Close your eyes if they're not closed yet, and see with your mind's eye yourself engaged in the process of getting to your level 10 life. Visualize yourself achieving the ideal results you're looking for. Maybe it's getting a dream job, healing your body, falling in love, having a baby, making $1 million, or just finishing today's project. But not only visualize the result, visualize the process. See yourself doing the activity. See it through your eyes. Not like you're watching a movie of someone else do it, but like you're seeing yourself in that scene. You look down and there are your hands, your body, your feet. See it. Feel it. What are you doing? How are you feeling? How are you moving? Who are you being? Start to let this image of yourself and your life soak into your mind, your body, and your heart. You're visualizing. And now we move. So stand up where you are. Create a little bit of space for yourself. We're going to do our exercise.
I can change that.
Morning exercise.
No, you don't change anything. You have to leave it until the end.
Lo dejo así. Ok, está bien.
Gives you more energy, more clarity, and more discipline to get through your day. So it's a great way to oxygenate, energize, and awaken your body, your mind, and your spirit. Even if it's just 1 minute of exercise, movement matters. So stand up if you're not already and do some jumping jacks. At your own pace, open and close, jumping out. Add a smile if you're up to it. You got it. Yes. Good job. Now plant those feet and bend the knees into a squat. down and up, down and up. Now go at your own pace, squatting deeply, keeping the heart up and open as you sink down into the heels, coming back up to a straight, strong, powerful pose. Keep it up. Do 2 more. And once you've done those 2, hands on the ground, it's time for push-ups. This is your 3rd and final move, so make it count in whatever way that means to you. Maybe you do 1 on your knees, and that feels like a push. Or maybe this is something you do every day, and this is just practice. But whatever it is, find your limit, find your edge. Say, I can do this. Good job. You did it. You did it. Exercise done. Don't you feel it? Your blood pumping, your body more awake. Good job. You have 2 more savers left, and the next one is reading. So now with this opened, awakened heart, sit back down and get ready for some reading. Now don't worry, for this morning you don't have to reach for a book. When we read in the morning, we're feeding our mind and inspiring ourselves to live the life we want to live, to learn new ideas, new ways of being. So in this reading portion of your savers, on any given day, you can read a book or part of a book, an article, or listen to an audiobook. So today, I'm going to read to you. I'm reading to you from The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. So soak this in. How you wake up each day in your morning routine, or lack thereof, dramatically affects your levels of success in every single area of your life. Focused, productive, successful mornings generate focused, productive, successful days, which inevitably create a successful life. In the same way that unfocused, unproductive, and mediocre mornings generate unfocused, unproductive, and mediocre days, and ultimately a mediocre quality of life. By simply changing the way you wake up in the morning, you can transform any area of your life faster than you ever thought possible. That's from Hal Elrod, and that's exactly what you're doing today, making a choice for yourself, your day, and your life. Good work. Now grab your journal or your phone or a piece of paper or your tablet or whatever you're writing on today, because it's time to move on to scribing, which means writing or journaling. And this is important for self-discovery, for personal growth, and for self-reflection. Now this can be free writing or guided journaling, like we're doing today. So take out your pen or whatever you're writing with and answer this question. How do I want to feel about this day when I lay my head on the pillow at night? How do I want to feel about this very day when I lie my head on my pillow tonight? And what actions will I commit to taking today to ensure that happens? Here's where you write. How do I want to feel, and what do I commit to doing to making sure that happens? Great job. You did it. You finished your savers. You did your miracle morning. Silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing done in under 15 minutes. Good job. Have a great day.
Thank you, Lucy.
If you
Okay.
enjoyed this track, I highly recommend you check out our 7-day free trial, if you haven't already, to experience over 100 guided audio and video savers experiences. Check them out.
Okay. I don't,
Hold on,
today,
stay there.
ah,
Quédate ahí. Mira a ver si tiene
okay.
una con,
Que no dije mi presentación de My Day.
okay, go ahead.
Okay. Today, August 14, 2025, is my day. Malta Rodriguez, and today we have a miracle morning with Lucy Osborne. And now we go to reading our book, The 48 Law of Power. Thank you. And Dr. Piña, you got
Okay.
the power to the book?
Yeah, you have it.
Okay.
Before we do that, aren't we going to share our scribing?
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh
Marta?
yeah. I'm sorry, Victor. And
Okay.
everybody.
No apology needed. I'm just making sure that we didn't forget. That's all.
Yeah. I forgot. Okay. Thank you, Victor. And you can share, please, your.
Okay. Mine is simple. I want to feel like I did something worthwhile and noteworthy towards fulfilling my goals and dreams, to make sure that it is more than just a feeling and a thought. So I'm going to continue to write, and I'm going to check off a few simple things that will send me in the right direction on my to-do list. Thank you.
Bravo. Yeah. Yes, it is. You got the power. I will. I I will finish my beautiful day with energy and satisfaction for everything that I planning today. Like yesterday, I did everything that I want to do. I didn't, and today I focus on myself and what I wanted. Say action. Uh, yes, this is mine. And now I can pick it out. Mr. Lauren, Miss Dr. K.
You ready?
Lauren?
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
here.
you ready?
Buenos dias.
Buenos
Uh,
dias.
I'm gonna work on putting in my calendar and not just talking about it. I'm gonna commit to doing getting back to the gym and doing workout routines. I'm gonna look today at hiring a coach, because that will hold me accountable. Um, and I have my security stuff I'm working on again today, so I'm going to come up with a plan to keep going with that too. Thank you.
Yes, it is. You will.
Gracias.
Yeah. Steven John.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hey,
bro. What's
good
up,
morning.
bro?
What's up? Uh, yeah. So at the end of the day, I just want to know that I've helped at least one person, professionally or personally, help them develop something professional or personally. At the end of the day, that I knowing that I helped one person and help me rest easy at night. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. You, we can do everything that we planning. For that reason, we wake up every day at 5 o'clock. It's not easy. It's still not easy, but we working in ourselves. Beautiful Rosaura, lady.
Good morning, everyone. Buenos días, Martita.
Buenos días.
I already did the first step, which is participating in the Savers, which allows me to begin the day with a learning and productive mindset. I will also follow my routines, while also adapting the growth mindset, beginning with the end in mind.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Excellent, Rosaura. Always. You are on the money.
Thank you.
The rich man, Mr. D. Gregory.
Buenos dias, mommy.
Bueno,
I'm going to start with the best medicine that we could feed our body every day, which is laughter. I'm going to focus on having fun every day and making someone smile or laugh. Give them the best medicine to have a great day. Thank you, sister.
yes, great day. Yes, yes, have fun and do your work and don't thinking um that you working. You this is your passion. And when you do it what you love, it's more easy. Okay, doctor Piña, no lo voy a dejar de último, no.
Okay. Aware of the, I will feel, I want to feel aware of the turbulent moments to date to see and learn the psychology of the most malignant man of all time, to continue watching part two of the life of Hitler, understanding that with DJ, your president, we are living dangerous time and moment in history.
Wow, you are amazing. Good, good, yeah. And Doctor Candido.
Morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Candido. How are you?
Okay. Yes, I want to feel aware of any moment in the day, anything I do, anything I think, or I want to be aware all the time. It's difficult for me to be aware of whatever is happening in my life, but I am trying it. I am trying, and I am getting that control. I am getting that waken, that wake up than keep me aware of whatever is happening.
Yeah, yeah, you will. You will. Because you focus and you coming better and better. And
Yeah.
everybody, we coming really uh, more focused, more happy. And we can, and we, yes, we can do it.
Yes, thank
Okay?
you.
I think so. Everybody do. Yeah. Let me see. Yes. Yes. Yes, okay. Dr. Piña, please continue
Watch
with
how this
our
tactic infuriates
book.
people. Half of what they do is to get your attention, and when you withhold it from them, they flounder in frustration. As Idris Shaw says in Caravan of Dreams, man, kick him, he'll forgive you. Flatter him, he may or may not see through you. But ignore him, and he'll hate you. Keys to power. Desire often creates paradoxical effects. The more you want something, the more you chase after it, the more it eludes you. The more interest you show, the more you repel the object of your desire. This is because your interest is too strong. It makes people awkward, even fearful. Uncontrollable desire makes you seem weak, unworthy, pathetic. You need to turn your back on what you want. Show your contempt and disdain. This is the kind of powerful response that will drive your targets crazy. They will respond with a desire of their own, which is simply to have an effect on you. Perhaps to possess you, perhaps to hurt you. If they want to possess you, you have successfully completed the first step of seduction. If they want to hurt you, you have unsettled them and made them play by your rules. Contempt is the prerogative of the king. Where his eyes turn, what he decides to see is what has reality. What he ignores and turns his back on is as good as dead. That was the weapon of King Louis XIV. If he didn't like you, he acted as if you weren't there, maintaining his superiority by cutting off the dynamic of interaction. This is the power you have when you play the card of contempt, periodically showing people that you can do without them. If choosing to ignore enhances your power, it follows that the opposite approach, commitment and engagement, often weakens you. By paying undue attention to a puny enemy, you look puny, and the longer it takes you to crush such an enemy, the larger the enemy seems. When Athens set out to conquer the island of Sicily in 415 BC, a giant power was attacking a tiny one. Yet by entangling Athens in a long drawn-out conflict, Syracuse, Sicily's most important city-state, was able to grow in stature and confidence. Finally, defeating Athens, it made itself famous for centuries to come. In recent times, President John F. Kennedy made a similar mistake in his attitude to Fidel Castro of Cuba. His failed invasion at the Bay of Pigs in 1961 made Castro an international hero. A second danger. If you succeed in crushing the irritant, or even if you merely wound it, you create sympathy for the weaker side. Critics of Franklin D. Roosevelt complained bitterly about the money his administration spent on government projects. But their attacks had no resonance with the public, who saw the president as working to end the Great Depression. His opponents thought they had an example that would show just how wasteful he had become. His dog Fala, which he lavished with favors and attention. Critics railed at his insensitivity, spending taxpayers' money on a dog, while so many Americans were still in poverty. But Roosevelt had a response. How dare his critics attack a defenseless little dog? His speech in defense of Fala was one of the most popular he ever gave. In this case, the weak party involved was the president's dog, and the attack backfired. In the long run, it only made the president more sympathetic, since many people will naturally side with the underdog, just as the American public came to sympathize with the wily but outnumbered Pancho Villa. It is tempting to want to fix our mistakes, but the harder we try, the worse we often make them. It is sometimes more politic to leave them alone. In 1971, when the New York Times published the Pentagon Papers, a group of government documents about the history of U.S. involvement in Indochina, Henry Kissinger erupted into a volcanic rage. Furious about the Nixon administration's vulnerability to this kind of damaging leak, he made recommendations that eventually led to the formation of a group called the Plumbers to plug the leaks. This was the unit that later broke into the Democratic Party offices in the Watergate Hotel, setting off the chain of events that led to Nixon's downfall. In reality, the publication of the Pentagon Papers was not a serious threat to the administration, but Kissinger's reaction made it a big deal. In trying to fix one problem, he created another. a paranoia for security that in the end was much more destructive to the government. Had he ignored the Pentagon Papers, the scandal they had created would eventually have blown over. Instead of inadvertently focusing attention on a problem, making it seem worse by publicizing how much concern and anxiety it is causing you, it is often far wiser to play the contemptuous aristocrat, not deigning to acknowledge the problem's existence. There are several ways to execute this strategy. First, there is the sour grapes approach. If there is something you want, but that you realize you cannot have, the worst thing you can do is draw attention to your disappointment by complaining about it. An infinitely more powerful tactic is to act as if it never really interested you in the first place. When the writer George Sand's supporters nominated her to be the first female member of the Académie Française in 1861, Sand quickly saw that the Academy would never admit her. Instead of whining, though, she claimed she had no interest in belonging to this group of worn-out, overrated, out-of-touch windbags. Her disdain was the perfect response. Had she shown her anger at her exclusion, she would have revealed how much it meant to her. Instead, she branded the Academy a club of old men. And why should she be angry or disappointed at not having to spend her time with them? Crying sour grapes is sometimes seen as a reflection of the weak. It is actually the tactic of the powerful. Second, when you are attacked by an inferior, deflect people's attention by making it clear that the attack is not even registered. Look away, or answer sweetly, showing how little the attack concerns you. Similarly, when you yourself have committed a blunder, the best response is often to make less of your mistake by treating it lightly. The Japanese emperor Go-Saiin, a great disciple of the tea ceremony, owned a priceless antique tea bowl that all the courtiers envied. One day a guest, Dainigon Tsunehiro, asked if he could carry the tea bowl into the light to examine it more closely. The bowl rarely left the table, but the emperor was in good spirits, and he consented. As Dainagon carried the bowl to the railing of the veranda, however, and held it up to the light, it slipped from his hands and fell on a rock in the garden below, smashing into tiny fragments. The emperor, of course, was furious. "It was indeed most clumsy of me to let it drop in this way," said Dainagon, with a deep bow. "But really there is not much harm done. This Edo tea bowl is a very old one, and it is impossible to say how much longer it would have lasted. But anyhow, it is not a thing of any public use, so I think it rather fortunate that it has broken thus." This surprising response had an immediate effect. The emperor calmed down. Dainagon neither sniveled nor over-apologized, but signaled his own worth and power by treating his mistake with a touch of disdain. The emperor had to respond with a similar aristocratic indifference. His anger had made him seem low and petty, an image Dainagon was able to manipulate. Among equals, this tactic might backfire. Your indifference could make you seem callous. But with a master, if you act quickly and without great fuss, it can work to great effect. You bypass his angry response, save him the time and energy he would waste by brooding over it, and allow him the opportunity to display his own lack of pettiness publicly. If we make excuses and denials when we are caught in a mistake or a deception, we stir the waters and make the situation worse. It is often wiser to play things the opposite way. The Renaissance writer Pietro Aretino often boasted of his aristocratic lineage, which was, of course, a fiction, since he was actually the son of a shoemaker. When an enemy of his finally revealed the embarrassing truth, word quickly spread, and soon all of Venice, where he lived at the time, was aghast at Aretino's lies. Had he tried to defend himself, he would have only dragged himself down. His response was masterful. He announced that he was indeed the son of a shoemaker, but this only proved his greatness, since he had risen from the lowest stratum of society to its very pinnacle. From then on, he never mentioned his previous lie, trumpeting instead his new position on the matter of his ancestry. Remember, the powerful responses to niggling petty annoyances and irritations are contempt and disdain. Never show that something has affected you, or that you are offended. That only shows you have acknowledged a problem. Contempt is a dish that is best served cold and without affectation. Reversal. You must play the card of contempt with care and delicacy. Most small troubles will vanish on their own if you leave them be, but some will grow and fester unless you attend to them. Ignore a person of inferior stature, and the next time you look, he has become a serious rival, and your contempt has made him vengeful as well. The great princes of Renaissance Italy chose to ignore Cesare Borgia at the outset of his career as a young general in the army of his father, Pope Alexander VI. By the time they paid attention, it was too late. The cub was now a lion, gobbling up chunks of Italy. Often, then, while you show contempt publicly, you will also need to keep an eye on the problem privately, monitoring its status and making sure it goes away. Do not let it become a cancerous cell. Develop the skill of sensing problems when they are still small and taking care of them before they become intractable. Learn to distinguish between the potentially disastrous and the mildly irritating, the nuisance that will quietly go away on its own. In either case, though, never completely take your eye off it. As long as it is alive, it can smolder and spark into life. Here are some further reflections on this law. From Fables by Jean de La Fontaine. The Fox and the Grapes. A starving fox saw a cluster of luscious-looking grapes of purplish luster, dangling above him on a trellis frame. He would have dearly liked them for his lunch, but when he tried and failed to reach the bunch, "Ah, well, it's more than likely they're not sweet, good only for green fools to eat." Wasn't he wise to say they were unripe, rather than whine and gripe? From the Little Brown Book of Anecdotes. Once, when G.K. Chesterton's economic views were abused in print by George Bernard Shaw, his friends waited in vain for him to reply. Historian Hilaire Belloc reproached him. "My dear Belloc," Chesterton said, "I have answered him. To a man of Shaw's wit, silence is the one unbearable repartee." From Fables, Pilpai, India. The Ass and the Gardener. An ass had once by some accident lost his tail, which was a grievous affliction to him, and he was everywhere seeking after it, being fool enough to think he could get it set on again. He passed through a meadow and afterwards got into a garden. The gardener, seeing him and not able to endure the mischief he was doing in trampling down his plants, fell into a violent rage, ran to the ass, and never standing on the ceremony of a pillory, cut off both his ears, and beat him out of the ground. Thus the ass, who bemoaned the loss of his tail, was in far greater affliction when he saw himself without ears. From Essays in Idleness, Kenko, Japan. The Prodigy Ox. Once, when the Tokudaiji minister of the right was chief of the imperial police, he was holding a meeting of his staff at the middle gate, when an ox belonging to an official named Akikani got loose and wandered into the ministry building. It climbed up on the dais where the chief was seated and lay there chewing its cud. Everyone was sure that this was some grave portent, and urged that the ox be sent to a yin-yang diviner. However, the Prime Minister, the father of the minister of the right, said, "An ox has no discrimination. It has legs, there is nowhere it won't go. It does not make sense to deprive an underpaid official of the wretched ox he needs in order to attend court." He returned the ox to its owner and changed the matting on which it had lain. No untoward event of any kind occurred afterward. They say that if you see a prodigy and do not treat it as such, its character as a prodigy is destroyed. From Arthur Schopenhauer. And in this view, it is advisable to let every one of your acquaintance, whether man or woman, feel now and then that you could very well dispense with their company. This will consolidate friendship.
When you want
Nay, with most
to stop, yeah. Now we can share our about the reading today. Who wanna be first? Valentía, Valentía, Víctor. ¿Sí? ¿Y esa carita? ¿Ah?
No face. I was just thinking. Um, yeah, we continue to, read about the importance of not making a big deal about small things because of the consequences that the larger consequences that they could have, and the importance of ignoring pettiness for the greater good. You know, they're I can just think of an example of this one time, two of my colleagues, two people that I managed directly, um, were the facilities manager and the technology manager at the school were having this petty fight, um, because one wanted to set up something one way, but the technology director was saying you couldn't set something up that way because of how it was going to impact the equipment for the technology department. The reality was that he just didn't want to drag the equipment that far, and the maintenance person wouldn't help him with the with bringing the equipment, so they were just like in this like argument. And the easy thing that I could have done was just to come in, step in, and said, look, I'm your boss, both of you get this done. Right. And if they couldn't do it, I think it was my job to tell them how to do it, because at the end of the day, whatever they did was going to be seen later on by our administration and ultimately by the parents who were coming to the presentation. And if there was any sloppiness, it was going to reflect on the school and ultimately on me as the manager of both. And I think that the easy thing that I could have done was just like stepped in and took control over it. um, but at the end of the day, what I did was I played on the fact that I thought they were both very professional and that they weren't going to expose our operation because of their pettiness. And so I just kind of let them. I mean, I safeguarded myself by going and telling the head of school that they were having this petty match so that if something happened, someone other than me was aware of what was happening, and that I could always just say, look, I had hoped that they could figure this out, right? Here's what I'm gonna do if they can't. So just in case this got back to her, I let her know what was going on. But in the end, um, they figured it out. They just kind of grudgingly worked with each other and did the best presentation they could do for the school, and it worked out. No one ever found out about the pettiness. Only I knew. Only the head of school knew, right? But the flip side of that is that if I would have gotten involved, I would have probably made an enemy of the technology director, because I knew that the problem was the technology director's unwillingness to be flexible, and so the maintenance director was kind of like, you know what, you do what you want. This is how I'm going to do it, and that's that, right? So he had already dismissed the issue, and I think that by me letting them work it out and the maintenance director just ignoring the technology director then came and just did the right thing.
Yeah, we see that very often in the workplace, Victor. That's a great example, you know. Also, speaking to that effect, the people that indulge in pettiness, like the book says, you have to be careful of contempt, because when you indulge in the pettiness, contempt does rear its ugly head. And what we see from contempt, is there's often stemming from an unresolved issue, like you said, or sometimes you can have a perceived sense of superiority. Some people do have superiority complexes, especially in the workplace. So, and all that can be fueled by many different things: lack of respect, unmet needs, build up of negative emotions. Work relationships are sometimes the worst. So, um, but also it could be a sign of deeper problems. So, yeah, that's a very great example.
Thank you. I don't know. I just find that every single time I've ever been petty, we all have moments of pettiness. Every single time I've ever been petty, and I tried to go plea that case with someone. I can't think of an example right now. Somebody goes like, "Why would you stoop to that level?" Or somebody always tells me like, "Dude, you're so much better than that. Like, why is that a problem, right?" And I always find myself feeling like, "Yikes! I thought that this person was going to support my pettiness, but instead they're calling me out and making me realize how dumb this is."
Listen, I'm in the same boat as you. Hey, the way my comments set up, I receive it in less than 24 hours. So I try to stay on the up and up.
Yeah, and that's a great point you guys make, because that's people's intent, is to disturb you, is to get you off your game, and to expose you, and then to say, you see, look at Steve, you didn't think that was happening. Look at Vic, So I think that we have to understand that that's part of the other side's strategy for exposure. So that's why I love this law of just not saying anything. Be it play your poker face. This is chess, not checkers. Have your moves ahead of time, and you will win. But the challenge I find in the workplace is that people set you up, or people are looking to set you up to see if you're going to react. And once you react, you lost.
Well, I think that's the importance of having an incredible therapist to look me in the face and go, "Really? You're going to do that?" Right? And the importance of having a good friend like you, Greg, who I speak to God knows how many times a week, right? I feel like I'm almost like, "Greg, I'm about to go grocery shopping. Do you think I should buy, milk today?" Right? It's just good to have people that you can trust and be vulnerable to, right? That are going to point out like foolishness that you're about to do. Because sometimes when you're on autopilot, you're just going to go do something because that's what you're accustomed to, and you may not even realize that you're being petty. Yes, that was a plug for both of you.
Thank you.
Oh no, Gregory, disdained, ignored. Yes, simply disdain him, ignore him.
Man. Yeah, you have to I think deep down you usually know what you got to do. Sometimes it's just you got to have the courage to do the right thing. Um so it's not always the easy choice, but you got to do what you got to do.
Good point, Lawrence. You know something? One of the things that I wish this chapter had done, I wish it had gone a step further and given tools for how to do that. Right. So, like for instance, one of the things that I don't know if this is going to help someone here, right? But one of the things that I find helps my pettiness is like like if I'm angry at someone, or if like at work, right? If someone did something to really tick me off and I just wanted to let them have it, I write them a nice solid note. I make sure that I don't address it to anyone. I make sure that, it's just a note. Like I write the email and I get everything out and I say everything that I want to say. And then I just read it and I go, "You must be out of your mind if you think you're gonna send this to someone," right? And then you delete it, and and sometimes it just feels good to get that off your chest and to say it, even if it goes nowhere. But it just feels good to write it and say it.
Yep. Understood.
I mean, if I may, I had this really petty issue one time with my college that was unresolved. I felt that they treated me very poorly during my time at the school playing baseball. I felt that the coaches got away with some racism and some really awful things, right? And I felt that it impacted me in a lot of ways. It never let me pursue my baseball career in college. Um, it impacted my social well being at the school because all that I thought about it affected my morale, and I felt that ultimately, it stopped me from training, which led me to gaining weight. I felt like that whole thing had a whole impact on my life, and and I spoke to a friend, and they were just like, "Look, write them write them a note, right? Write them a letter, and when you write that letter, um it'll feel good. Maybe the letter does something, maybe it doesn't. And I wrote, I think it must have been, I still have it somewhere, I must have wrote like a 15-page letter, like outlining all of the things that they did, and this and that, and then I was just like, who am I sending this to? And who do I think is going to read this? And who, and as I sat there and I just thought, man, you know what? I don't even care. Like 10 years have passed. Like let this go. But I was finally able to let it go because, because I wrote this letter and I shared all the feelings. And I remember I went to I went to an alumni event and I saw the baseball coach. He was coming down and he was just like, "Hey, Victor, how are you?" And I just looked at him and I just kind of like nodded my head and I kept walking. I didn't, I just completely ignored him. Like I let him know that he was like so irrelevant in my life, right? I just kind of did, I made sure that I did like the bare minimum courteous thing and acknowledge people. And I just kept it moving. Like, we're not gonna have a conversation. You harm me, you know. But I had already written my letter, and I had already like kind of moved on from it, and it was just good to be able to just like, hey, keep it moving, and I'm in a better place now. So whatever, kind of, right?
Um, this practice, the writing a letter when you are angry is so good. Or angry or happy anyway, but it's so good to writing is you freedom yourself, your mind, and this chapter they say that you have to make the big thing. Uh, no matter what, it's no, it's like show out. Uh, this is a good practice in the life, administration, and the leader. The leader has to make the team big one. Um, I do a practice when I am like in the top to my hair uh, to clean up myself to the things happen in the day. It's related with the Victor say about writing, but Victor, this is a lot of page.
Well, I was angry.
Yeah, but very good, very good. And listen, this teacher, if he look like loosely, uh, don't lose tight this picture that you have. You understand what I
Yes,
say?
yes, yes, yes,
Huh?
yes.
And it's not tight, it's loosely. Something happened. Huh? Little by little. You got it.
Well, to your point, one of the best things about writing is that if you write something, you're gonna always have your thoughts because you're gonna pause and think about, okay, what do I want to say next? Okay, what do I want to say next? All right, maybe I don't
Hmm.
want to say that, and you erase it. Right? If you speak words, you can't take those words back. Right? And if you're angry and you're impulsive and you say something that you don't mean, you can't take it back. But you can surely erase a couple of sentences from a message that you didn't send to anyone.
Hmm. Yeah, it's okay. Who had the last word? Volunteer.
Good morning, everyone. I want to say something
Uh,
about this law. I
mm,
think I like this law because this law is not against anyone. It's just to make you feel better yourself, to grow yourself. Because when you ignore whatever you cannot have, you focus on whatever you can have and you feel better and you grow. Because mostly the men, when we used to regret or feel bad for don't have a love that you want, a human that you want, don't buy a car that you wanna buy, don't buy a house that you wanna buy. And when you do that, you just feel weak. You feel small because you cannot accomplish those things that you cannot. And this law is powerful because when you focus, when you disdain that, when you ignore it, and you focus on whatever you can have, you're gonna feel better. You're gonna when you change the focus, you're gonna feel better. You're gonna feel that you can. You don't wanna suffer for whatever you don't have. You're just gonna enjoy whatever you can have. So this
yeah.
level for me is powerful for that.
Yes, Candido. Uh, be happy. Thankful. What the thing that you have, and working what way you want. It's simple. We complicated the life, but we start to be thankful. Um, and this the life coming better and easy. Yeah.
I really like what you said.
Yeah.
That's a great last word. The focusing on yourself, right? Being able to find power and focusing on yourself on something that impacts somebody else. Like that's very powerful. Thank you, Candido.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, because in my life now are happening things that I cannot have, and sometimes I feel it's a little bit egotistic, and don't focus on those bad things that are happening to me. But it's the best way. It's the best way because if I keep focusing in whatever I cannot have, I'm gonna keep I'm gonna keep suffering. I'm gonna
Mhm.
keep slow. I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep. I gon But if I focus on whatever I want, I try to forget those things. If a woman don't like you, forget, ignore her. If you cannot have your kids, your wife, forget it. If you cannot have a house that you think you could have, forget it. If you cannot have car, whatever you want, forget it. Because if you keep focusing on that, You're gonna feel remorse. You're gonna feel weak. You're not gonna be happy. So change the focus. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. This thing. Somebody want to say something else? Dr. Piña?
It's okay.
Rosado?
I think what Candido says is very, really, very important. So when you know what you cannot have, you can focus on you, on your mission,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever that is that you can do and accomplish.
Thank you, Dr. Piña.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, everybody, for your company, your sharing. Uh, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks to you, Martita. We love you. Thanks to you.
Uh,
Martita.
I love you. I love you, everybody. I love you. I send my good energy, my best energy of love to everybody. You
Thank you.
made you made my life wonderful.
all right. Bye bye.
Okay. Have a great day.
Beautiful day.